See, I didn't forget this time. Thanks to everybody who's still jumping on. We appreciate you coming to join us on a Friday here. Happy Friday to you all. We're going to wait a few more minutes to allow some people to get on, but in the meantime, I've given you access to unmute yourselves and talk if you so choose. Don't be afraid. If you want to share your camera, you can do that too. We won't bite, I promise. But we'll wait just a couple more minutes for some people to jump on. But again, welcome and happy Friday. All right, Paul, you ready?
Let's do it.
I'm ready to do it.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Yes, yes. All right. Happy Friday for sure to everyone. Thanks for jumping on. We are going through the Core Technology Bootcamp today with Nutanix. Hopefully this will allow for everybody to get a good understanding of what Nutanix is, how it's different, what things they have to offer that you may or may not already have and be using. And hopefully, you know, a good look into some things that you haven't seen yet that would be beneficial for you and for your environment. I am Harvey Green. I work with XenTegra, actually XenTegra and XenTegra Gov. We'll get to that too. But I have with me Mr. Paul Nguyen. Hi, Paul.
Morning.
And we'll go through this today. Feel free to, guys, ask questions. You know, jump in. You can come off mute and ask questions. You can throw your camera on. You can throw questions into the chat, into the Q&A. Doesn't matter. You just let us know. We'll do our best to answer anything you have.
Yeah, and it's a smaller group today, so definitely open mic and talk and discuss. We like to have open discussion than just going over PowerPoint with everyone. So make it more fun, definitely on a Friday, for sure.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. All right, so we'll talk through introductions, which you kind of just did, and we'll go through a who is Integra before we get to a what is Nutanix.
No worries. Like I mentioned before, it's a smaller group. If you guys don't mind, just give me a quick introduction to yourselves. Who do you guys work for, your role, any experience with Nutanix you guys have in the past, or do you guys already have Nutanix, etc. And what are you guys looking forward to for this class? I'll go down the list on my end. Frank Vega, if you don't mind going off mute and do a quick introduction.
Yes, and can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi guys, and a happy Friday. I work for LabCorp, and I recently just got into this role as a Citrix engineer.
Okay.
So I am new to the team. So I am currently starting to learn the product. And so I have the capability of having hands-on. So this is kind of like a good introduction for me because it's new to me, even though I've been, kind of, futzing around and getting some exposure. So I want to speed up the process.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, we'll have hands-on labs for you to play all day today as well. and Citrix is a perfect platform for Nutanix. Joseph Wayman. You can put on chat as well if your mic doesn't work. Cool. I have Joseph Wayman here on twice. Kenny Tran.
I'm sorry, this is Joe.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I see you on there twice, so you probably have connecting issues with Zoom. So
I'd had a little issue this morning, but
yeah,
it's working out. So Joe Wayman, I'm a senior network technician at Marine Federal Credit Union. And we're looking at alternatives. Right now we're running VxRail and VMware, also Citrix VDI. So I'm just looking to get a little head start.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of benefits to Nutanix versus VxRail. If you have any competitive questions, just go ahead and ask us away as well. Cool. Kenny Tran. I'll go over to Thomas McKelly. We're just doing introductions, your role, any experience with Nutanix, what do you want to learn from this class, and just for fun, what do you like, what are your hobbies, what you like to do for fun. It's a smaller group, so I want everyone to get to know each other, and once you guys do labs, you'll be interacting. So, Thomas? I just saw you on chat.
Right. Come on, Thomas. Yes.
Oh, there you go. No worries. Cool. I think last we have is Vic. All right. We'll move on. Go ahead, Harvey. Let's go over to what is Integra.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So first off, let's hit you with the money slide. We are giving away a Bronco. This is actually happening later this month. Giving away a 2022 Ford Bronco at a Charlotte FC game in just a couple weeks. So go out to broncos.XenTegra.com. You guys can go out there and get more information about what we're doing, why we're doing it, get registration information, that kind of deal. We are going to also do a Work Has No Boundaries sweepstakes for 2023 as well. So be on the lookout for more information around that. I don't yet know if it will be a Bronco again or if we'll do something else. So I'll even take suggestions for that. That'll be fun. But definitely go out to bronco.XenTegra.com, take a look at what we're doing, and try to find out a little bit more about who are these crazy people that are giving away a car.
And what color is it again, Harvey?
It is, this one is green. It is, I don't know, forest green, hunter green. Yeah. So thanks, Vic. I see you threw something in there about microphone audio troubles, but Vic says it's primarily coming from a VMware environment and looking towards learning more about Nutanix and the hosting layer. So yeah, we'll definitely be getting into that in just a little bit. You are in the right place, sir. I'll go through a few slides around who is Integra. So we'll kind of go through that. Again, you guys can feel free to ask questions, throw something in the chat or whatever. Go ahead, Paul. Excuse me. So XenTegra is a value-added reseller. I know we work with some of the guys on the phone, but if we're not working with you, just know that we partner with, I think at this point, around 80 different technologies. We've got lots of consulting services, lots of consultants on our team that can help across a whole wide range of things. We also do managed services, so we can take care of, if you take care of your environment, if you have a staff that's too small for all of the things that they're asking you to do, or if you just don't want to take on management of all of the systems and you have more important things to do, we can help with that. We do also have hosting services, so that if you don't want something to live in your data center, or you don't want a data center at all, we can help out with that too. One of the things that we try to do around XenTegra as a whole is to try to make everything be sort of a community. So just like we're asking, you guys to jump in and, make sure you're asking questions. You can ask questions of us, ask questions of each other. From that standpoint, we try our best to make sure that we have, open and honest communication through our community. Make sure that we're also getting everyone in the community taken care of for what they need for their environment. So again, definitely feel free to reach out for anything you have. We do also offer what we call micro assessments. They are completely complimentary to you. They're about a half day, maybe a little less, with one of our engineers or our solutions architects, who will go through your environment around Citrix, around VMware, around Nutanix, Microsoft, whatever, to kind of go through what you have, see how it's laid out, and make recommendations to try to get you to a best practice standpoint. Try to make sure that you're as secure as we can recommend you to be, and make recommendations around that, so that you can kind of choose your own destiny from there. You can decide. We do provide you an Excel file that kind of details out everything, details out our recommendations, what we found, what we saw, what we think you could do to get to best practices or to better secure yourself. You can take that and throw it away, or you could ask us to help you take care of it, or you could just say, hey guys, you do it. We've got lots of options around making sure that we take care of you from that standpoint, but we are not at all like the pushy kind of people. So we stick it out there, hope that you choose to at least get to best practices or secure your environment the best way possible, whether you use us or not. So I think that's a good summary of that piece of it. From our consulting, both our consulting team and our technical team on the pre-sales side of our solutions architects, we kind of rallied up the team to see how many years of experience we had together. The number kind of surprised all of us. It's a little over 700 hours. I'm sorry, 700 hours. Geez, 700 years of end user compute experience. Every time I think about how long I've been doing this, it makes me feel old. So I guess that's why I translated it mentally to hours. But anyways, just we've got a wealth of knowledge that you guys can take advantage of. This is a picture of the XenTegra founder and CEO, Mr. Andy Whiteside. It's a quote from him: XenTegra was born out of a need for customer enablement and true partnership. He very, very, very much believes that. For anybody who knows him, who's talked to him before, he's extremely passionate about making sure that we are doing everything that we can to enable our customers and to be true partners all the way through, which means, not just making sure that you buy what you need, but also kind of going through whatever fires and trials and tribulations you're going through with you, to make sure that you come out on the other side as unscathed as possible. We've won awards for our approach to things. This is actually a picture of us winning Citrix Worldwide Partner of the Year. I think this was 2 or 3 years ago. But this is, kind of a representation of the piece of our team who could make it to their conference while this is going on. But ultimately, rewards. Well, I'll throw this out to Paul. I always do. I'm still working on Nutanix Partner of the Year, just so you know.
That's coming.
But awards from our vendor partners are absolutely great, but the most important award for us is to be your customer of the year. So that's what we'll work hardest at doing. A few of the websites we have out here that you guys can take a look at. Events.XenTegra.com is where we will have a list of all of our events that we're doing. Some are in person, some are virtual. All depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it. We've got lots of things out there, from bourbon tastings to baseball games, hockey games, soccer games, BMW driving experience, like all kinds of things. So definitely have a lot going on. Take a look out there to see what strikes your fancy there. Webinars.XenTegra.com is where we house a list of all of our webinars that we do. We actually do at least one webinar every Wednesday. So webinar Wednesdays. Sometimes we have two, a morning and an afternoon. So again, lots of things going on. Our webinars are about 45 minutes each, 45 minutes to an hour. And we go through a new and or emerging technology or a new and or emerging feature out of one of our existing technologies that we offer and partner with. So good place to go out there and get some information around new features for things you already have or things you have coming up. So take a look out there. Podcast.XenTegra.com is where we house all of our podcasts. I think the last time I looked, we were at 10. So 10 different podcasts going on. Geez, some of them weekly, some of them monthly. But lots of free knowledge for you to have out there. So definitely jump out there and subscribe. I mean, whatever your podcast platform of choice, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, just Spotify, whatever you decide you want to use, we should be integrated with that. And if we're not, and you just let me know so we can get it done. This is a slide that kind of shows you some of our existing customers. The main thing that I want each of you to see out of this is that we work across a bunch of different verticals, a bunch of different kinds of companies. I mean, you'll see on here construction, you'll see healthcare, you'll see colleges and universities. You got Continental on there. They make tires. HBO does TV, right? We have lots and lots of different kinds of customers that we service. Some big, some small, some with complicated environments, some with pretty flat environments. So we go across the spectrum as far as it goes. We very much pride ourselves on being end to end. So definitely let us know how we can help you out, and we'll jump in and do our best. Again, we're a value-added reseller to the highest partner levels for most of our technologies. We've got consulting services, professional services that we offer, as well as hosting services, as well as managed services. And we're very, very much solution oriented. So a lot of times, even if you come to us with a shopping list of, I want these 10 things, We'll still, you know, try to get into the why and how these other pieces fit together, because ultimately it's like any shopping list, right? You go out there and get it, and you come home, and then it's not, oh, well, I'm just using this one thing. You got to make those things work together so that you can have a full meal. Sorry, I do a lot of food analogies, and it doesn't help that I'm hungry. So again, kind of a summary slide here, but we've talked through a bunch of the different things we do, the different technologies we service. The big thing, again, to take away from here is that bottom line. We work with a lot of different vendors. We work with a lot of different solutions. This gives you a single vendor, single point of contact, you know, single throat to choke, as a lot of people say, or will say, a single hand to shake, because hopefully you're not choking us. But ultimately, we like to you know, make sure that we are doing our best to be a partner to you, and being an end-to-end type of partner you can look to across all of your different technologies to make sure that everything is working together harmoniously for the sake of you being you having happy end users, because ultimately that's what it comes down to. Partners.XenTegra.com is where we have a list of all of our vendor partners that we work with. If you go out to partners.XenTegra.com and you see a logo for somebody that you do business with, or that a technology that you work with that you know might want to get some help around, or ask some questions about, or hey, just say, hey, I work with these people, you know, how can you make it better for me? Then definitely reach out, and again, we'll do our best to jump in where we're needed. XenTegra Connect. So we have, I've kind of talked about it a little bit, our managed services, our hosting services, those both come out of XenTegra Connect, as well as a 24/7 365 help desk, support desk. So lots of offerings around them. They are all states-based. The primary location there is around Atlanta, Georgia, and Alpharetta, but we do have some technicians spread around the US, all the way out to Hawaii as well, so that we can follow the clock as well. Again, 24/7 support there for you. These are a list of all of our cloud partners, Nutanix being one of them, chief among one of them. But Microsoft, VMware, AWS, how's the AWS link missing? We'll get that fixed. But anyways, again, we are across a bunch of different technologies, a bunch of different cloud providers. So we're very much involved in a lot of those conversations. We've done plenty of price calculations, plenty of TCO calculations, ROI. I mean, just if you're looking at it, if you're thinking about it, you don't know where to go next, definitely reach out so that we can at least straighten that road out for you, and maybe pave over some of those speed bumps and brick walls in your way. We do also have a staffing division, XenTegra Staffing. So if you have any openings on your staff that you're trying to fill, we can definitely help with that. Just give us the requirements you need. We will go through kind of the whole gamut for you, and make sure we're giving you good candidates. If you are looking for a job right now, jobs.XenTegra.com is where we house some of the openings that we have from people who are hiring. So those jobs are out there. A lot of them are direct hire. We do have some contract out there. So definitely take a look. If something strikes your fancy, then you can go ahead and apply through there as well. And you know, we'll hopefully keep things going with you. Again, I've talked through kind of our micro assessments. We do these absolutely for free. It kind of boggles my mind how much we do for our customers and future customers for free. Hopefully you guys are seeing that as I go through all of this. But again, kind of the calls to action here, we can help you design and plan for the future. We can quote out what you need if you decide that you want to go in a certain direction. We can help with demos if you want to go through demos before you decide on a certain vendor or a certain technology, and then we can provide services to help you either implement it or optimize it or whatever it is you need to do at that point. So again, kind of running the full gamut, making sure that we can do whatever you need, meet you wherever you are, and take you where you are planning to go. That is my spiel on XenTegra. Do you guys have any questions at all? All right.
Who wants the Bronco? That's a better question.
I'll throw one more thing out there that I kind of didn't approach a whole lot, but we also have XenTegra Gov, who is focused on the state and local education as well as federal side of things. I actually run that organization. So any of you who are on from state and local government or higher education or federal government, you'll be dealing with me a lot. So any questions around that, you can let me know as well. But again, thank you guys for joining, being with us today. We're gonna get into the meat of the topic here with Mr. Paul and talking through Nutanix. So again, don't be afraid to jump in and take yourself off mute to ask questions or send a question through the Q&A or the chat. I got my eyes on both. And while he's going through this, I will start sending out information about how to get to the lab for when we get to that part. But definitely feel free to jump in, say hi, ask questions, do whatever. We appreciate you guys being here.
Awesome, appreciate it, Harvey.
Absolutely.
Again, my name is Paul Nguyen. I'm Senior SC over at Nutanix. Been with Nutanix for exactly 4 years, so
Nice.
Ask any questions. I probably heard it. If not, I'll put it down and find an SME for you guys. But please don't be afraid to ask any questions. What they call AMA, ask me anything. Please do.
That's right.
Cool. So I'm glad a lot of people in this group did say that they're learning Nutanix 101. So that's a good segue for me to kind of take a quick step back and start kind of from the beginning to see, to explain, right, where Nutanix came from and why we came to be. Take a quick step back. A lot of customers, what you guys are familiarized with, right, is the 3-tiered architecture. As Nutanix and as XenTegra, our goal is to hopefully educate and help you modernize your infrastructure to HCI and why HCI came to be. So with a 3-tiered environment, that means, right, your networking, your server, and your storage. With a traditional 3-tiered environment, it does come with a little bit of complexity. And here in Nutanix, whoops, if I click on my slide, we like to call this the 80-20 rule. With a 3-tier environment, you're spending a lot of time, 80% of your time, right, is managing your infrastructure. Since it's 3 different silos, 3 different environments, you're gonna need specialized skills for storage, specialized skills for networking, specialized skills for your server, hypervisor, virtualization, and you're gonna make sure everything is integrated together properly. Again, with a 3-tier environment, you might have 3 different vendors for each of these segments, right? You might have a Cisco network, Dell servers, NetApp storage. If you guys do an upgrade, will they all upgrade together? A lot of planning goes into it. A lot of time, right, is dealing with the infrastructure away from your company goals, like making revenue, creating new applications. If you're federal government, you have mission goals to hit. All of that, right, you're spending too much time on your infrastructure. With Nutanix, we make it a little easier. So we actually combine and collapse all 3-tier into a 2U appliance. So we like to call this box a cloud in a box per se, right? If you need to grow and expand, we'll go ahead and just add more nodes to it. It is software defined, so if you add more storage, we'll just software define and grow out your resources. Again, Nutanix, we are software company, right? So we don't mind or care what hardware platform choice you guys go with. We do have strategic partners and what we call OEM appliances. That's pre-configured, pre-packaged for you guys. We partner with HPE, Lenovo, Dell, IBM, Cisco. And it's plug and play appliance, so it's already pre-configured, built out. Just plug and play it and you're ready to go. Cool. And again, like I said, it's plug and play. Virtualization, you can use EXI or Hyper-V, but out of the gate, right in the box, included, it's our own hypervisor called AHV. But we can work with all the other hypervisors as well. And we can also do conversion. So if you're running EXI and you're tired of VMware attacks, convert over to Nutanix Hypervisor. We are getting around 70 to 80 adoption right now, even higher with the federal government and SLED customers. So we're having a huge adoption rate, and a lot of customers are reaching out, right, trying to get away from VMware attacks over to the AHV Hypervisor. You can see there K8 Kubernetes is included in there as well. So we do have built-in, again, out-of-the-box Kubernetes orchestration. If you want further integration with Kubernetes, we do partner very heavily with Red Hat if you guys need OpenShift. Cool. Again, this is saying integrated compute, storage, virtualization, network security, all in a 2U appliance. A cloud in the box, plug and play to consume by you guys. Cool. Quick pause there. Question, concern, comments so far? Cool. So I found this picture on the left-hand side somewhere on the internet, and I had to put it in my presentation because it's kind of funny. I like to tell people that's Harvey in there, trying to figure out his 3-tier environment. I don't know how many of you guys have these kind of environments or work in these kind of environments. I have, right? It's wires everywhere, cables everywhere. My label maker is like labeling everything left and right. It can get kind of convoluted and kind of daunting in a way to manage that kind of infrastructure. You can see there with Nutanix, it's a lot cleaner, a lot neater, easier to manage and modernize your infrastructure there on the right-hand side. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this as IT admins. To manage the infrastructure, you might have multiple GUIs or interfaces you got to log into to manage, right? You can log into NetApp for your storage, maybe Cisco for UCS, create your UCS profiles, log into Dell servers, etc. That's multiple tabs, multiple GUIs, right? It can get daunting again, but with Nutanix, all of our graphical user interface, it's in one. You see on the right-hand side. It's going to be managed through what we call Prism Element. And you see there is HTML5, so you can log in from anywhere you have internet connectivity, can manage out your environment. I added this in here. It's a little bit above the scope of this class, but I do want you guys to be aware or know, if you guys log into our website, you're going to see Nutanix as labeled as the hybrid cloud company. So we are moving a little above, away from HCI to a hybrid cloud company. This is where we differentiate ourselves from competitors who are just getting into HCI and figuring out HCI, right? We're already there, right? We've been around for almost 9-10 years. We're moving forward and improving ourselves by expanding out to the multi-cloud. So we can put our software on the public cloud as well. This is where we can create, right, a multi-cloud, hybrid cloud environment for the customer, for you guys. We can manage everything through Prism Element as a single GUI, and then we can move applications from on-prem to AWS and back and forth. So you're not vendor locked or locked to any specific environment. We can freely move data around. So just example, you see here, we work with AWS. What it is, we're putting our software on AWS bare metal. So it's going to be seen as a secondary cluster of Nutanix. And then from there, you can replicate back and forth, etc. And then we can leverage all of AWS's native services. So a couple of use cases for this scenario, right? Lift and shift, if you need to move. If you know you have elasticity, you have data workload that's going to grow and expand, go ahead and move it out to the cloud, either to AWS, or we do have our own cloud, what we call Cloud. You can do that as well. Again, we're not vendor lock you to anything. Soon Azure will be available with Nutanix, but there, right, you can move. If you have workload during peak season that you know it's going to expand and then decrease once peak season is over, go ahead and move those workloads out into the cloud. You might have very sensitive data like databases that you want to hold near and dear. Keep it on-prem, or if anything out in the cloud, go ahead and move it to your on-prem Nutanix data center. Again, cloud native services, anything in AWS, RDS, Lambda, your VPCs, everything in AWS is going to be available. But as continuity, you can send backups to the cloud as well. You can move it to Glacier or to your S3. Again, this slide, I put in it just to hammer home that we are a software company. We're not going to vendor lock you to anything. Hypervisor choice, again, it's built in our AHV. Customers are converting over. If you want more information, we can discuss more and how that process works. And it's very seamless and simple. Again, we're having a 70 to 80% adoption rate over to AHV. More so as of late. I'm recorded, so if you guys want to talk more reason why, we can. But if you guys are still using EXI or Hyper-V, you know everything will work on your Nutanix platform. Again, cloud platform of choice, Nutanix. We partner with Supermicro. We have the Dell, Lenovo, Cisco, HP, and IBM. And then cloud of choice. Right now, it's our Cloud and AWS. Really soon, we'll GA Azure, and I know a lot of customers are excited for the Azure release.
Yes.
So
partners too.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take a quick pause there. Any questions or comments so far? And please don't be shy. And again, if you would like, just put in the chat. Harvey can manage that.
Yes.
I guess before we go on, anyone have any issues, concerns with VMware, EXI? I remember someone saying they're using VxRail. Any concern, comments on that, or anything anything you're looking for towards Nutanix that can help out that VMware can't do?
I don't know if it's that it can't do it. I've been having a struggle lately with the upgrades and patches and all that. It's also hyper-converged. So if there's a vulnerability in, say, VMware, now I have to wait for the VxRail package to come down that has the firmware, the patch for the whatever vulnerability. It's a very long and drawn out process every time I have to run these upgrades.
Yes, I'm glad you brought it up because I hear it a lot, and I'm glad you brought it up for everyone in the group here to hear. It definitely echoes loudly from a customer saying that. I'm hearing that a lot, right, from VMware. How the upgrade it's a huge process to upgrade VMware.
Right.
You can play around in the lab as well to see how we upgrade. We do a non-disruptive rolling upgrade within Nutanix, and you'll see how it works once I go through kind of like a whiteboard presentation how Nutanix does that. But we also do checks and upgrades as well. Our upgrade is very seamless, very quick, very painless with Nutanix, and it hits home with a lot of customers. Just like you said with that VMware upgrade length.
Yep.
Cool. So under the hood, I apologize because of work from home. Normally I do on the whiteboard and kind of explain out how Nutanix is built out. So you can see, right, how data flows, how we do things differently from other competitors, how it fits into that upgrade, right? So hopefully these slides do it justice, but if you need questions, please ask away and tell me to pause. But hopefully this shows, right? Nutanix web scale architecture. What that means is our founder, Dheeraj, and all of our CEOs came from Google, right? Google, as you guys know, hold petabytes and petabytes of data. So they realized very quickly how hard it is to expand and grow with just a point SAN solution. So they created the Google file system, software-defined storage, right? As a web scale architecture approach to grow and expand very quickly by just adding and more white label servers into the environment. So anything fails or breaks, they'll just take it out and replace it and repair. So it's grow fast, fix fast, etc. We took that Google file system approach and just made it Nutanix. And we renamed it DSF, Distributed Storage Fabric, but in a sense, it's a Google file system. Then we packaged it into 2U appliance to make it easier and consumable to the mid-market enterprise customers as yourselves to use and consume. So if you remember earlier in my presentation, I said this is a 2U cloud in the box. I really mean it. It's the Google file system. It's a cloud in the box appliance that you can just put in your data center and it's ready, plug and play and ready to go. To make it HCI, hyperconverged infrastructure, our secret sauce is what you see there in the middle, the CVM. So the CVM stands for Controller Virtual Machine. If you guys are familiar with most SAN solutions, right, come with a pair, or at least they should, right, 2 controllers. Even with 2 physical controllers, that can be a bottleneck. Say, for example, you have 100 servers, 100 VMs, 100 VDIs, right? No matter how fast, if it's all flash, no matter how fast your SAN is, all your data will still bottleneck in those 2 physical controllers. This is why we're really good with VDI, and it's kind of our claim to fame when we started out. We do more workloads than just VDI now. We do everything from normal VM virtualization, big data, Splunk, databases, what have you. But our claim to fame started out, right, was VDI. Only because if you guys ever used VDI before, say you have 100 users all logging in all at once, you're going to get bottlenecked into those 2 physical controllers. Right, if you type something, it's called a boot-storm effect. If you type something, maybe 5, 10, 30 seconds later, I'll start typing, which is kind of scary when I first did it, right? But we alleviate that problem by putting the controller on every node within Nutanix. What that does is open up more swim lanes into Nutanix, so we don't get that boot-storm effect. That's why we're very good with VDI. Citrix did came out 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and announced that we're their preferred platform of choice to run Citrix. That's really big because Citrix usually doesn't announce their preferred platform, and they did 3 months ago. We did the same, right? We said Citrix is our #1 VDI vendor of choice. So CVM there is the secret sauce, right? Again, it's on every VM. Every node. Our Prism element is going to be on each CVM as well. So if one CVM goes down, you can still manage the infrastructure. Versus, right, VMware with vCenter, you might have 1 or 2, but if that goes down, there goes your management. We add extra right, fail safe. That's Friday. We have every Prism element on each CVM. One more layer on top is what we call Prism Central, that manages different Prism element that manages a cluster. So we have multiple layers of management there. question, concern, comments? And it'll make more sense when I do a preso on Prism Central.
Yeah, I'd say for everybody listening, this piece that he just went through is probably one of the more important pieces in the foundation of knowing what you're dealing with Nutanix. So please definitely ask questions if you need it. This both deals with how you manage it, the fail safes behind it when there are failures, but also a lot to do with where you're actually getting the bang for your buck as far as performance goes. So as we start layering in the other pieces, this foundational piece that you're looking at right now will be what you start to see the benefit from as the other pieces get layered on. So I want to make sure everybody at least understands this part, because this is definitely the block we're building on.
Yep, and to add on, so Prism Element manages a single cluster. So you can have one cluster running, right, AHV, another cluster running EXXI, another cluster running Hyper-V. This way you can manage multiple hypervisors within Nutanix. And then if you guys remember, I said we have Prism Central that manages the different Prism elements. You can manage all different hypervisors through Prism Central. So you can have a hybrid approach. That's also where we see customers migrating EXXI over to AHV because they see the benefit of AHV, right, from a single cluster or a DR site that they have managed, and they'll convert over.
I do have a question.
Yep.
Sure.
Right now, with my VxRail clusters, I have one at my headquarters and another at DR. We use a product called Recover Point for VM, where we can fail over to our DR cluster in the event of a disaster. Is there a technology with the AHV that would do kind of the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have built-in. You hear me say a lot of things are built-in and native. We do have built-in, right, snapshots capability that we can replicate over to a DR site. We have built-in connectors as well to replicate directly to AWS S3. Multiple scenarios, right? It's backup. It's a huge conversation. So I'm glad you brought it up. I might have a couple slides go into that, but just very quickly, right? We do have built-in snapshots. We have metro availability as well. What's not in my slides is what we call Xi Elite. So we have DR as a service as well. So if you don't have a DR site, we can replicate out to our cloud. What that does is creating a fault tolerance VM out in our cloud on a ready state per se, right? So everything goes down, it's just direct all your users over to the cloud environment and just be up and running from there. So depending on your RTOs and RPOs is the solution we'll pitch to you. But we have a solution for every, I guess, backup scenarios you might, or DR scenarios you might have. But do you know we have that DR as a service Leap available as well to use. Again, hopefully that hammers home that we're not a product company, we're a solution company. And any scenarios or issues you guys might have, we'll solve those issues. If we can't, we have strategic partner alliances that XenTegra can help connect with to give you the full stack scenarios.
Yeah, something else I'll throw in there that Paul kind of hit on, but I want to put a little more emphasis around, is that all of these feature sets that we're going through and that we'll start building on to this whole picture. As you guys are looking at this, I want you to know and see that a lot of this is stuff that Nutanix has built from the ground up. So it was always built to work together. It was not, oh, well, I like that, I'll go buy that. I like this, I'll go buy that. I like that, I'll go buy that. And then just try to glue it together and try to put it together that way as a full solution. These things were all written together to coexist together. So you'll find that a lot of this is a lot more seamless than you've seen out of some of the other manufacturers that have, had to try to integrate things that were never designed to be integrated together. So want to make sure that point is made out there as you continue to look at these, and when you get into the labs and start working with it, you'll kind of see all of that picture come together too.
Yep, very important. We built our software, everything is built for HCI versus our competitors who kind of put it as a check mark to be HCI, right? We're built from the ground up for this purpose. Oh, I didn't actually go over the slide. So this is just one appliance model, right? This is the NX. Just to give you an example where you're looking at when you're purchasing Nutanix. This is one block that can hold, think of a block as a chassis. So this one block can hold 4 nodes. See the 4 nodes, right? That houses your storage drives in the front. This one is on a hybrid model, so it's HDD and SSDs. We do have all flash models as well if need be, and NVMe. We can see there how it's separated out with the nodes in the block. We also do have, right, single node blocks as well. So if you guys need single block nodes, we do have those, as opposed to if you want to go with the normal 4 blade chassis block. Again, we're software defined. You should only need to create one storage pool. In fact, I think we took out that option to create multiple storage pools. So you'll create one storage pool for that software defined storage. And then once you create those pools is where you can create the containers. So containers are basically like your VMware data stores. That's where you house all your VMDKs, your QCOWs in the environment. So if you want to relate one-to-one, the containers are basically VMware data stores. Okay. Data locality is a very huge buzzword within Nutanix. It's another way we differentiate ourselves from the competitors, not just other HCI products, but other software-defined storage products out there in the market. Just very quick what it means, right? If a VM sits on node 1, its data is going to be written and housed in node 1 and not any other node within that software-defined storage pool. We have a concept called replication factor. This is how we deal with redundancy and fail, right? So replication factor means we're going to create a copy of the data on another node within Nutanix in case one does go down. Replication factor will allow for, right, n+1, n+2 scenarios. So when you talk to Nutanix SC or XenTegra SC, depending, right, on your workload and your budget, we'll build out a solution for n+1 or n+2. This will allow for that because it's going to replicate a block of data to another node for failovers. RF3 means we create 2 copies, another cell phase, right, for your environment. So you have 2 copies of the data somewhere else in your environment. We do have block awareness and rack awareness as well. So we can replicate to another rack. In case someone trips on a wire and take down the whole rack, we have a block on another node, another rack. Same thing with block awareness. We can replicate between 2 blocks for a smaller environment. So we have multiple ways we can deal with failover, but just know replication factor, right, allows for n+1 and n+2 scenarios. Bless you.
Thank you. I made it to the mute button in time. It was, yeah.
So intelligent tiering is built into Nutanix. Remember I mentioned we do have hybrid models. So with intelligent tiering, you can have a hybrid model, but still have all that flash performance. We'll store everything to flash initially, and then we'll do machine learning. We'll learn that you're not using that data frequently. They'll go ahead and offload that data to your spinning disk or HDD, your less expensive storage. But again, right, we have all flash. We have NVMe as well. We also have something called flash mode for your database workloads. So we can actually commit certain workloads to just flash and it'll never tear out. So you don't have to worry about if you have a hybrid model. You don't have to worry about your important IOs, your databases being offloaded. You can actually commit it to your SSDs, and we'll size it appropriately and make sure it fits on your SSD tier. Okay, so this is where, like I mentioned, I usually do it on a whiteboard. So I'm hoping this does it justice with these slides. Again, I'll go slow. Ask me any questions. So hopefully this hammers home what data locality and RF2 means within Nutanix and why it's really good and why we differ ourselves from competitors. So you can see here in this environment, we are running 3 nodes. For RF2 to work, we do recommend having 3 nodes to start out. With RF3, we do recommend 5 nodes, and you'll see why. Right, with 3 nodes, we can do n+1. So you see here, VM1 sits in node 1. The concept of data locality, it's going to write all that data to that local node. So you can see none of the blocks there are written into node 2 or node 3. So if you need to read anything, we're not going to traverse to the network to hop onto the other nodes. Any other product, right, with a software defined, data can be written anywhere, right? And then you have to hop through the network to read. With us, it's always going to be local to where the VM resides. Once it's written and committed, it's going to notify the CVM that it's written. The CVM will then log that data into the metadata, right? So that it knows where it's written, and then it's going to replicate out those blocks. Notice how it stripes across through the other nodes as an extra copy. If it's RF3, right? You're gonna need 5 nodes, and it's gonna create another copy of those blocks and then stripe across. Okay, so reading, right? It's also gonna read local as well. So again, it's not traversing the network to read anything else. Again, with data locality, if you move the VM to node 3, all the data with data locality is going to migrate over and go wherever the VM goes, hence data locality. Question, concern, comments on that so far?
So I'll jump out there and say again, this part is another big deal. This is where you're getting, again, a good bang for your buck out of Nutanix. Being able to compute with the storage on the same node is a game changer, because all of a sudden you're back to how things used to be, where your storage is now communicating with your VM at bus speed. And so what's faster than bus speed? Nothing. It's right there. So again, that's a game changer and definitely a difference that you'll see out of Nutanix compared to other options. So definitely wanted to make sure that that got highlighted so that you guys can see that. Any questions around that?
Cool.
All right.
Okay, so in case of either a node failure or a CVM failure, again, this is built out for n+1. If something breaks, DRS will kick in, HA will kick in, right? The guest VM will move over. Oh, whoops, this is going over the CVM. So if the CVM goes down, right? You can see here all the metadata is already logged into the CVMs. It'll know where all the extra replicated blocks are. The CVM2 will go ahead and take its place and then read the blocks from from there. Let me go over this. So what I want to go over to you guys is, right, this is running n+2 that we built out. Can you guys still hear me? I think Harvey kind of froze out, so I'm making sure you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. Harvey, you still there? I think you froze out.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes. Cool. No worries. There you are. You froze out for a little bit there, Harvey.
I don't know what happened there, so forgive me. Did it mess everybody up?
No. As I make sure they can hear me, as I didn't freeze out as well. Cool. So this is running an n+2 build out scenario. So you can see there, VM sits on node 1, and all the blocks are already kind of striped and replicated for R2. What happens in a failure scenario? Again, n+2 means we can have 2 node failure and still house all your workloads. So one node goes down, right? DRS, HA kicks in. VM gets vMotion over. Nutanix will self-heal. You don't have to do anything. It will alert you that it's happening, but you don't have to hit any button, you have to trigger anything. Self-heal will happen. It'll go ahead and rebuild and redistribute within the 4 nodes. Again, we size up for n+2. So we can have another node that goes down. DRS, vMotion. Same thing, self-heal, rebuild, and replicate RF2 again. Cool. Question, concern, comments? And then when you expand a cluster, it's the same scenario. It'll just do a self-heal, expand out to your 4th, 5th, 6th node automatically from there. So expanding cluster is just a simple, it'll self-heal and rebalance and do RF2 from there. A question, concern, comments on that? Yeah, self-heal is very powerful. Again, it goes into the web scale story I went into, how you can grow fast and heal fast. Hopefully this does it justice to explain the methodology. And again, we'll size appropriately with you with your environment, whether you need n+1, n+2, block rack awareness, we'll size up for DR, and all your different workloads from there. Cool. Affinity and anti-affinity rules are included in Nutanix as well. Just like VMware, for example, you have 2 VMs that you need to be in the same node, where there's a database and application. You can keep it in the same node, or you can do anti-affinity rules. Or you can do anti-affinity rules if the 2 VMs that you don't want to go down at once, you can separate them out. Okay. Joseph, I think I had a question about DR. So these slides do go over that we do have built-in snapshot capabilities. Again, it depends on your RPOs and RTOs. We can discuss that and give you the right solution. We do partner a lot with different vendors within the backup ecosystem, whether it be Haiku, Veeam, Veritas, Commvault. Again, depending on your scenario is the solution we're going to pitch. And also we have a built-in DR as a service with Xylee. We'll replicate out to cloud and do all those scenarios. Yep.
About Rubrik.
We can do Rubrik as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're HCI front end, and then Rubrik and Cohesity, or Hyperconverged back end. Yeah, we can work with those too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of the people who went out there and made Rubrik actually came from Nutanix, so they work very well together.
Oh, that's good news. We love Rubrik here.
Yeah, they work very, very well together. Yeah, that's no accident.
Yeah, like we mentioned, we can have hyperconvergence front end with Nutanix and hyperconverge with their Rubrik Cohesity in the back end. Or any backup solution that can back up VMware you can use, right? backup depends on the hypervisor, right? So any backup solution you're using currently with VMware, you can still use. Cool. Again, this is going over the local snapshots. If you want more functionality, right, you go with the enterprise backup solutions. But we do have metro availability. So you'll do this in the lab. You create something called production domains. Those are just going to have you select and group out VMs into a production group. And then with metro availability, all the VMs in that group will take the backup at the same time and replicate out to a DR site synchronously, right? So it'll always be one-to-one. In case primary site goes down, all the same data is in site 2 they can recover and back up from. Cool. Any other question concerns on backup with Nutanix? And you can create during the lab, play around more with it. You can do the practice domains, set up your backup schedule, your retention, how long you want to keep those backups for, and point where you want to replicate it to. You can actually do a little more if you have Prism Central. It might not be in this lab, but you can do more advanced replication within Prism Central. From there, with DR as a service, create your runbooks. Select what VMs you want to replicate out to the cloud. You can also even select which VM powers on first. And you can do a fire drill as well, test out a failover scenario, right? A lot of times when you do a backup, you know, backing up is good at securing your data and holding it safe, right? But do you know you can recover it if a failure does happen? With Leap, you can actually test out those scenarios and give reports to your manager. Give you more ease of mind that if a failure does happen, if you already tested it out, then it's able to recover. So we do DR as a service, fire drill within Nutanix as well. What I want to go over is the one-click upgrade. So you saw, right, every node has a CVM. This is where we can do that non-disruptive rolling upgrade. As you can see, we can HA, DR, vMotion VMs offload it over to another node while we do maintenance mode and upgrade node 1. And it was going to keep rolling and do upgrade over and over and until we have all the nodes upgraded. That is where, right, it's like I said, it's non-disruptive rolling upgrade. What that means for the customers is that you can do it during production hours. So no longer do you need to do off hours after work, on the weekends, on your holidays to do your upgrades. It says one click, maybe it's 1 or 2 because you got to log into the console. You'll see it in the lab. You can upgrade our AOS software. You can upgrade the hypervisor. Files, which we'll go over in a little bit. We can do files in Nutanix as well. So we can actually do 3 modes in Nutanix: block, file, and objects. You can see that on the screen, NCC. NCC just means Nutanix Check. It will run through, it started out with a couple hundred checks, but now it's like over 1,000. We'll check and make sure every application will work with the latest upgrade before you do the upgrade of Nutanix. So it gives you ease of mind that everything is going to upgrade and its operational work with your applications, your databases. Everything will be done through this upgrade software one-click operation. So you'll see in the lab, right? You'll see these buttons pop up in the console. Upgrade the firmware, AOS, hypervisor. One click, it'll show the latest version. And then just upgrade from there.
So I know we had a little bit of talk around this piece of the life cycle and care of what's going on with your hyperconverged infrastructure. Does this look different than what you're dealing with today? I assume the answer is yes.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Easier, harder, neither.
It looks very straightforward and simple. Yeah.
Yeah, the installation is the same process. I joke around a lot, but it's true. When I go on site to do install for you guys, I'll rack and stack it, right? Put 2 cables in it, to the top of a rack switch, connect all the nodes together, and I'll take you guys out to lunch. We'll grab a bite to eat, come back, and the install is basically done.
Yeah, I've done this, I don't know, a good many times at this point. I actually did it last week for a customer with our block that we have that we use for POCs and demos. And for the first time, Paul, it took longer than lunch. I'll tell you why. So the first part was their rack that we put it in was, we'll just say, abnormally shaped a little bit. So it took a while to get it in there, which was kind of a harbinger for the rest of it. But the other piece of what took so long for them is networking. Their top of rack switches were not configured in a way that even they knew. So they got to learn something during that day as well. But either way, instead of being done right after lunch, it was closer to 2 or 3 o'clock. So either way, right, it was still completely fast, but it's amazing, you know, how you get spoiled to, oh, this will only take, you know, an hour or 2. And then all of a sudden it takes 6 and you're walking around complaining about how bad it was. But you put a data center together in 6 hours.
Yep.
So yeah. and I'm guilty of being spoiled to that too, right? I was still there like, why is this taking so long? So
yeah. And the VM spin up very quick as well. When I first used HCI and Nutanix, I was just so surprised. Right, turn on VM could take minutes, hours. Could take a long time, right? With HCI, how it's laid out, how data is flowed. Turn on Nutanix, the VMs are already powered on within like split seconds. So it's super fast. You'll just feel it.
Yeah.
Cool. So this slide here also goes over, we can replicate backup data or data across hypervisor and DR. So your whole environment does not have to be running on the same hypervisor. We can do in-place hypervisor conversion as well. So it's fully automated, done within minutes. It's going to run through a product called Nutanix Move, which is a virtual appliance that we're going to install into Nutanix. Again, we can move all the VMs over to Nutanix and then convert it in place from there. Or we can do in-flight conversion as well. So again, a quick story of a lot of what our customers are doing. When they first buy Nutanix, right, on-prem, primary, they'll run EXXI, but we advise them if they build a DR site, run AHV because they don't have to pay anything more with VMware licenses. Replicate back and forth over. They like the DR site so much with AHV that they actually convert their primary over to AHV. And again, we'll just do it through this conversion method. Simple cluster expansion. Again, we self-heal and expand. All we have to do is add the brand new node to your rack, connect it to the top of the rack switch. With IPv6, we'll auto discover that node. It'll just show up as node D, E, or F, or whatever further along you guys are in the node count. To check mark it and run the cluster expansion. I'll just add it to the cluster. Image services. Again, It's basically, if you guys were IT admins, normally you might create another data store that has all your ISOs. This is basically it. We create that data store already for you, and we call it image services, where you can house all your ISOs to build out your VMs from there. Cool. I do want to take a break before I go over Prism Central, because I do want to do a demo for you guys of Prism Central. Again, Prism Central manages your Prism elements, but within Prism Central, there's a lot more you can do. I realize not many customers or even partners realize the full capability of Prism Central. So I do want to do a demo of Prism Central, if you guys don't mind. But let's take a quick 10-minute bio break or water break. Come back. I'll spin up a demo environment and demo Prism Central for you guys.
And Paul, just a warning, since we're going to go on break, I'm still dealing with all kinds of computer weirdness after I had that little incident. So I'm going to reboot.
Okay.
And I'll come back. So if hopefully it will keep the meeting alive and keep going. But if it doesn't, just
make me host
in a minute.
My host?
I can't make you host.
Uh-oh. It's gonna turn off.
Okay, well then I will just keep it like it is and I will deal.
There you go. All right, guys, let's come back at 11:30.
Sounds good. I made you the host, Paul, so we're good.
Hey guys, it's 11:30. Just checking to see if you guys are back.
I'm back.
Is Harvey back?
Back.
Oh, there he is.
I'm having trouble with the login to the lab.
We'll go over that here in a second.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Hopefully this is more exciting than PowerPoints. I definitely like doing demos and whiteboards better. So I apologize. It's the new normal to do everything virtual now. But yeah, I would love to do this in person. So much more fun and easier.
Yes.
Cool. Again, so this is Prism Central. In the lab, you do Prism Element, right? But I do want to show you all the functionalities of Prism Central. But you can manage each Prism element through Prism Central as well. So you can see in I call it the burger icon. Again, just like Harvey, I'm kind of hungry now.
Yes.
It's getting towards lunch. But if you go here, this is where you can create, right, your VMs, your services images, create your container, your volume groups, everything can be done here. I'll do a quick demo on how to create a VM. And again, you'll do this in the lab, but in Prism Element instead. But I just want to show you that you can do everything here in Prism Central on multiple clusters. What I do want to show as well, something we call XPlay. Again, I realize not many customers, even partners, realize that Nutanix is also an automated company. We have a lot of automation tools available. One of them is being XPlay, IT operation management, and we can automate that. What does that mean, right? This is something I think you guys would use more in the day-to-day functionality. Sorry there. So for example, right, you have a VM that hogs all the resources and use all your memory or vCPUs. Normally that VM will just shut down, right? We can create an XPlay where automate and it'll automatically add more memory into that VM so it doesn't turn off. You can set parameters as well so it doesn't keep adding memory over and over and take up the whole resource for other VMs. You can do that as well. That's something here that I want to demonstrate what XPlay can do. That's just one example. There's many more that you can do within XPlay. But to demo that, I'm going to create a VM, and then I'll trigger the XPlay to show you what it does. So let's go ahead and create a VM. I'm going to go ahead and call it XenTegra test VM. Keep in mind this number here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 3. But I'm going to run XPlay, so it's going to automatically add one more. So that 3 will turn to 4. So just keep in mind this 3 here. Okay, so this is where we're going to add the container or like you guys know, it's a data store. So you'll create in the lab your data store and then just select it here. Sorry, container, and then select it here. And you create your subnets here, and you do that in the lab again. I'm just doing all the default for demo purposes.
And I'll just add, for those who are not very familiar with Nutanix, he's actually going through the process of creating a VM right in front of you so that you see what that process looks like. Again, probably a little different than what you're used to, but this is part of why we're making sure to show you these things too.
And of course, it's a demo, so it's kind of freezing out.
You're supposed to make your demo god sacrifice this morning, Paul.
And again, guys, this is running AHV and not EXI. So you can see it's a very low learning curve if you're familiar with VMware. Oh, it's probably updating or something.
Yeah, that's what happens when you share a demo cluster with a bunch of people.
Yeah, well, I also just installed and set it up an hour or so ago. So I think everyone's it's still initializing and being built.
Okay.
Just in case, I'll just do a different name. Again, keep in mind number 3. Add to the container I created, which I should have done it for you guys, but I kind of did offline. Yeah, it's freezing out for me.
So it lets you get all the way, but won't let you hit create VM, huh?
Yeah, it's freezing out. I'll get back to it. There's other things I can show for you guys. But no, there is XPlay automation built in. And what it does is it's going to automatically add more memory to it. I'll do a trigger alert. You can tie it to Slack, or you can tie it to email. It'll show you email notification, knowing that the trigger event happens, and it'll add more memory into that VM for you guys. What's also built into it is, again, we have machine learning. So if you click on capacity runway, again, I just built out this environment earlier this morning. So there's really no workload running, but there is. It'll show you here how much capacity runway is left within your environment. Right from there, you can plan out either you want to expand vertically, right? Add more resources to your nodes, or expand vertically and just add more nodes into your environment. So let's go to demo cluster. And it's going to show you a graph. With our machine learning, it's going to get better and better every day as it learns your environment. But it can predict in the future as well how much resources is going to be used. So this is what it is today, and this is what it's going to predict your growth. So pretty neat. If you go to optimize resources, this can also tell you if there's any VMs that are over provisioned, any inactive VMs, constrain or noisy bully, any VMs that's hogging resources. From there, you can remediate and optimize your environment. What's also cool under planning, if you know you have a project coming up within the next year, you can actually test out that project before you actually add it to your Nutanix cluster, and make sure that workload fits into the environment before you add it. Do we need to add more nodes for that new project, or can we just add it to the current environment? So
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
So we have a technology. It used to be called VM Turbo. It's called Turbonomic now. It seems like this built-in feature you're showing us kind of does the same thing. Do people run VM Turbo in a Nutanix cluster? Is there any reason?
I've heard of VM Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bought by IBM now or someone.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with.
You still have that option, but with this built in, I don't see it much on Nutanix, because this is already built in, and because it is already there, and because it already has knowledge of the workloads and has been watching it for the past however long you've had it, there's some additional intelligence here that you won't get out of something that's just jumping into it when you install it, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good question.
Yeah, very good question. Again, this is all part of Prism Central. So just remember the difference between Prism Element and Prism Central. Prism Element is one cluster. Prism Central is the managers of managers, per se. Again, this is select in the future. Right, say you have a project in the next 6 months. Since we're all working from home here, I'll go ahead and do a scenario where I'm adding 500 VDI users into the environment. So say, for example, a scenario in the next 6 months, I'm going to hire 500 more employees. Is that going to fit into my current environment? We'll go ahead and find out. So we'll add that workload. Again, it doesn't have to be VDI. It can be SQL servers, VMs, VDI, Splunk, or what have you. I'm going to do VDI because it's going to freak out the environment when I add 500 people or 500 more users. And you can see here within the next 6 months, we don't have enough resources. So if you go ahead and click on recommended, and give it some time here, it will recommend you the next how many more Nutanix nodes and what appliance model that it recommends you guys to add on. So again, this is for you guys to see. I'm not a Nutanix employee or not a XenTegra employee. It's for you guys to take a look at and see and discuss internally how do you guys want to proceed with the new project. And then you can see you can go up to a year. So there it is. It's telling me with 500 more users, I'm going to need 2 more nodes of the NX3000 series. And more than enough for the next 6 months. Cool. Question, concern, comments?
Group.
So I'll go ahead and stop there. There's one slide I do want to show before we dive into the lab. Give me 1 second. Cool. So what we went over today, right, is Nutanix 101. I kind of call it the first phase of Nutanix. So the first phase, right, is modernizing your infrastructure. That's where we are here today. Once we modernize it, we'll go ahead and add more layers and more solutions to your scenario, right? I just want you guys to be aware of what we can do within Nutanix. We're not just HCI. We can secure your environment by adding micro-segmentation, security analytics. We can do 3 modes right within Nutanix. We can block files and objects. Automated operations. Let me get the lab back up and running, and I'll show you those automations. And then business continuity, many different solutions. Right, we have Xyleap. We also have our own backup target appliance as well to work with our platform. Databases, we do have Era that can do database as a service. Cloud native, robo environment, test dev, analytics, these are different workloads we can work. These are the names of the product within Nutanix. Don't be caught up by the naming convention, just know what they do. And then we do have boot camps for all of these as well. But the first right today is getting the bottom layer here. Big thing I do want to note is our Net Promoter Score. For you guys who are not familiar with what NPS score is, it's you guys rating Nutanix on our support. It's from -100 to 100. We're at 90. Other competitors, like the other big boys in the environment, are around 40 to 50. Just to show you how high 90 is, right? And again, we're keeping this we've been 90 for the past 6 years. So even though we're growing more customer base, right, and more products into our environment, we're still maintaining that 90 Net Promoter Score. So we'll start right with you from beginning to end. We have SMEs on different products as well, not just Nutanix. Again, we'll work with you from start to finish, and then you get top tier support, right? You don't go through different levels. you get the top engineer right off the bat to solve your issues. Cool. Again, this slide is just going over, we do have a bootcamp for this, but we have volumes, files, objects. Scale out just normal like Nutanix, add more nodes across the environment. And what's built in as well is what we have. We renamed it, we call it Data Lens. But what Data Lens is files analytics. So it can do audit trails and uses on anomaly. In your files, in your filer, I call it the Databerg effect. You might know the tip of the iceberg of your data, but what's below that, is there any redundant data, obsolete, trivial? There's a lot in your filers that you might not know that's in there. We can do a full scan and do a breakdown of the different type of files in your environment. Audit trails, we can actually see, we tie into your Active Directory. So you can see who accessed the file, how often, when, where, and why. And also we can, if someone is accessing the file but it shouldn't be, we can detect intruders through the anomalies. So it's built into the files product, very powerful, very cool. Again, we have a whole lab, a whole demo that we can discuss. It's not part of this bootcamp, but I just want you guys to be aware that it's out there. The product's available. We do have test drives and we do have bootcamps you guys can try out in 10 if you guys want to learn more about this product. Cool. Any questions, concerns? If not, I'll pass it over to Harvey to get you guys connected to the lab.
Yes, lab time. Yes, what everybody came for. I'm sitting here laughing. I remember at some point when Paul sent me an email, he gave me a different password that I should be using. So for step one, when you guys jump out there, I'm sticking the password in the chat right now, but it will be XenTegra 123 with an exclamation mark at the end. That's for step one. And I got reminded of that as soon as Joseph said he was having problems getting into the lab. It's like, wait a minute. So try that password for step one that you guys have, and that should get you in there. No problem.
You can start recording as well.
Oh, yes, yes, thank you for that.